At Love FM.
Well, thanks for staying with us, and it's some 26 minutes past 7. Now, if you have spent countless hours praying for showers of blessings, your miracle could be just around the corner. Airtel Tigo is making a shower huge cash prizes, data, and call minutes in the Airtel Tigo Misu promo. From now to December, people all over Ghana will be winning awesome prizes every hour, every day, every week, and every month with a grand cash prize of 100,000 Ghana cedis. Now, all you have to do is to simply dial star 500 hash, recharge 5 Ghana cedis or more, and build up points from Airtel Tigo Money and ATM transactions, which of course will give you double points. Recharges, bundle purchases, SMS trivia, and general usage. Now, you can also purchase points on star 500 hash via Airtel Tigo Money and ATM to boost your points. You can get even more points from the daily SMS trivia for 30 pesos or from simply buying extra points.
When they see what taxes, what's about Wabo? I feel so. I am President Kufana Ban, oil is Sika, oil is the Maho. When the Musika by 3.6 billion. And so, Yahuma, what is Sika? What are you? What the gravity? Tuntum Panza, Yalanet Bata, one Yamone, non Hanaka, your baby. Mon frère, mon livre foresight there. It's a dead goat. President who has no foresight is like a dead goat. And whosoever receives money from a president who is a dead goat and then goes to vote for him is like what? Penny wise, pound foolish. Is penny wise, pound foolish. Nigameke, Okokonkon, Eahekoto, Okokonkon. No one be there be cry and yeme meanwhile one year here nana year here about time
Stephanie Sullivan, and she is begging Ghanaians to go out there and get themselves vaccinated. And like I said, these ones are mainly for students in the senior high schools. But here in Ghana, aside from the Pfizer, we're using the AstraZeneca, the Sputnik, the Moderna, and of course the J&J, that's the Johnson & Johnson. Now, despite assurances of the safety of the vaccines, many people are reluctant in taking them. Dr. Patrick Kumar-Boaje is Director General of the Ghana Health Services, and he says that they will consider suggestions to make COVID-19 vaccination compulsory, as more Ghanaians are reluctant in taking it. Take a listen to him.
Companies in this country who have mandated that if you are not vaccinated, you can't come to work. That's for them. But as we see in other countries, there's initial continuous engagement. And if there is no cooperation and they feel the nation is at there, people are not at risk. The mandates are pronounced. We ensure that people who are not vaccinated do not become a threat to those who are taking their vaccine. So that's not for us to talk about. But it's something that we want to avoid a mandate. But it's important that people get vaccinated and get educated to the importance of protecting themselves and everybody else.
All right, so that was the voice of Dr. Patrick Kumar-Boaje, the Ghana Health Service Director General there. So this morning our conversation is simple. Which other countries, have introduced such laws that is making it mandatory for its people to take the vaccine? Is there any country like that? We know that currently as we speak, many of us might think that we're out of the woods yet. We are not out of the woods yet because in some countries they have introduced lockdowns again. We'll be telling you all that and more right here on Love in the Morning on Love 99.5. But what we're asking is, making the vaccination compulsory, mandatory, is that the way to go? Is that the way to go? Send us your voice notes. Keep it simple. Less than a minute. Send us your voice notes to 0551 111 or let me put it this way, 055 111 995. Send us your voice notes. Keep it very simple. Less than a minute. Do you think that making it compulsory, making it mandatory is the way to go? Your thoughts are very much welcome. We're live on Facebook. And just to add to what I've said so far, we know that there are plans to also ensure that as we get closer to Christmas, people who have not received their vaccines will not be allowed to enter into some events grounds. And that is also coming up. So if you have not taken your vaccine, if you go, for example, to a concert somewhere, well, you might be refused entry because you have not been vaccinated. Currently, this is what our statistics looks like. Currently, we have about 669 active cases. We have 24 new cases. We have lost about 1,209 people to COVID. And we have recorded 130,920 cases and 129,042 recoveries. But before we engage with a lawyer who would help us appreciate and understand whether we can, enact such a law that would mandate people to take the vaccine, Eugene Osetutu is with us in the studios of Love 99.5. He's always with us. He's our fact checker. His birthday is, beckoning. It's on Saturday. And so if you call, you can wish him a happy birthday. If you have something special for him, he will more than accept it and say thank you as well. Eugene, good morning.
I want to fully endorse your last words. They're very important.
How are you doing, man?
God is keeping us, David. God
All
is
right, good to have you. Good to have you. So, for a while now, we haven't had a conversation about coronavirus or COVID. But listening to the narratives and the conversations that are, coming up, especially from what we witnessed in 2020 during the campaign period prior to the elections and again during the Christmas festivities and the numbers we had in January, we need to be worried. And so I'm happy about the fact that there are lots of conversations that are, emerging now around COVID-19. What do you have for us this morning?
David, let me even take you back. When COVID hit in Wuhan, China in 2019, let's not forget that was the year Ghana did the year of return. And indeed, when you track the numbers, you notice that there's a semblance between the higher people that came to Ghana and Ghana recorded its first case. Indeed, the first 2 cases Ghana recorded was not from this country, it was from Norway. So clearly, it tells you that as you are drawing towards the Christmas...
And people who reside in Ashanti region as well.
Once you are drawing towards the Christmas season, there will be lots of travels into the country. People who also leave the country, there will be travel to the various tourism destinations of our country. So it's important we start having such conversations. David, let me just give you some.
Before you give me something, I would like to inform our listeners that we're live now on Facebook. We have a lot of visuals for you to appreciate what it is we're talking about. And even some of the visuals we'll be showing you has to do with the presentation that Eugene is about to share with us. So join us on Facebook right here, right now, LUV 99.5 FM. That's how you can get us on Facebook, LUV 99.5 FM. And drop some comments. Is making it mandatory, making it compulsory for people to take the vaccine the way to go? Is that the way to go? Drop comments on Facebook. We shall share your thoughts with the rest of the world. Again, send us your voice notes 055-1111-995. So now that's something.
Yes. David, more than 4.21 billion people worldwide have received a dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. That is equal to some 54.8% of the world population. David, vaccine does remain relatively scarce globally, with demand still forecast to outstrip supply through the end of 2021. Additional doses include booster jabs, because we know that in some countries, in the UK, in France, and in Germany, people who've been vaccinated fully are still receiving booster jabs. It tells you about the efficacy of the virus in the system. Also, more than 208.9 million have received the various booster jabs, as I've said to. I've alluded to earlier. Less wealthy countries are relying on a vaccine sharing agreement between COVAX, which is originally aimed to produce or provide 2 billion doses of vaccines by the end of the year, but has repeatedly cut its forecast because of production problems. And we all know the issues in India. With the Serum Institute of India, we're supposed to produce millions of doses on a large scale daily, but India has experienced 5 seas, and I don't know the waves they are in now. And it's only normal for you to stabilize the issues in your country before you can export to the rest of the world. So from the initial target of 2 billion doses for COVAX by the end of the year 2021, COVAX has now done some review and are targeting 1.4 billion doses, meaning that there's a shortfall of about 600 million. And David, you know that clearly Ghana will be hit because Ghana is also party to the COVAX initiative. This has led to striking divide between the regions of the world. Africa has the lowest vaccination rate in the continent of the world, with just 9.8% of the population receiving at least a dose of the vaccine. About 74% of shots have gone into arms worldwide and have been administered in high and upper middle income countries. Only 7% of doses have been administered in low middle income countries. Again, the conversation comes, in Africa, what are we doing? Is it just politics? Are we not going into the sciences to be able to produce our own vaccines? So David, in sum, what these data have mentioned means is that 55% of the world is vaccinated, at least 43% is fully vaccinated, and even the privileged ones, those are the top echelons of the world economy, have vaccinated 2.7 people with the booster jab. So meaning that they've done about 3 or 4 vaccinations already. When you come to Ghana, and Kate, if you project the good job. So when you go to the Ghana Health Service website, you notice that we have 3.4 million people vaccinated. But David, I always say that data can be tricky. What it means is that when you look at the various vaccines that have trickled to the country, if you're able to fully administer all these vaccines, because Ghana is one of the few countries in Africa to have a proper cold chain storage system where we're able to transport some of these vaccines. That is why Ghana is almost like a haven when it comes to the distribution of vaccines during this COVID initiative. We've done 3.4 million. Or let me just give you the plus and minus, because maybe a student may be listening. It's 3,493,688. The US alone, the United States alone, has given Ghana 4.2 million doses of vaccine. So it means that if you fully administer the vaccines in the system, you'll be able to hit some 6-7 million. You will not hit the 20 million targets by the end of the year, which to me was not even feasible. But you are doing some 6-7 million, which is around 35 to 40% of our targets, and it's not bad. Now, Kate, if you move to the other one with the graphs, yes. You mentioned the various vaccines that are in our system now. So now when you go to the Ghana Health Service, again, their website, you notice that they've listed the population of Ghana, which is some 31.8 million. The target population, as I said, is 20 million. The total doses administered is 3,493,688. The number of people fully vaccinated is 842,225. And David, this is important. It means that those fully vaccinated in Ghana is not even up to 1 million.
And when we say fully vaccinated, we have had the double dose or the one short dose that takes care of the situation.
Yes. And when you come to the single dose, it's 2,220,092. So David, it's serious. You may be fully vaccinated, but the chunk of the population is not vaccinated, so you are still susceptible to contracting the virus. But that's that your hospitalization level,
the herd immunity.
Exactly. When it comes to AstraZeneca, which dominated the headlines in Ghana, we've done the single dose is 2.3 million. But David, you see the interesting thing. It means that AstraZeneca is in short supply. So when you go to the second dose, only 600,000 people have gotten the double dose. So it means that I have about almost 1.7 million who've received the first shot, but they are waiting for the second shot, and it's not in supply because the Serum Institute of India, again, as I said, is not producing for covers to be able to distribute. When it comes to the Russian one, the Sputnik V, we've done the single shot of 8,600. The people who've received both the first and second shot are 7,847. Sorry. The Moderna, we've done 215,726. And then we look at the Moderna column. Only 3,543 have received the double dose. So it means that, again, you have about 212,000 who've not received the second shot of Moderna. When you come to the Pfizer, which 1.7 million just came, 47,173 have received the first shot, and only 170 people have received the second shot. So it means that the 1.7 were coming upstream, which was received on Monday, the 22nd of November 2021. It means that they will be able to get their second shot, and also a lot of people vaccinated. And that is the vaccine that will be targeted for the over 600,000 people in our various secondary schools. Now, when it comes to Johnson & Johnson, which is one-shot regime, it means that when you take it, you won't take any, there's no need for a second vaccination. That is 168,620. Now, David, this is Ghana's picture. So it tells you clearly, and with an active case count of over 600, we are not out of the woods yet.
Not at all.
And when you listen to the expert, this dawn around 4:30, I listened to DW, and they were speaking to some experts from the CDC in America and other several institutions when it comes to the UK. And they were saying that one of the efficient ways, aside the vaccine, is mask wearing and social distancing. Don't attend unnecessary funerals. If you know you do not have vaccines, at least mask up. Now, when you come to the mandatory component of some of these issues, now, David, do you know that even in Germany, there are talks that they want to make the vaccination mandatory for at least soldiers? In France, there's also the talk about making vaccination compulsory for at least public sector workers. So Ghana is not the only one contemplating about making some of these vaccines mandatory, though by law and by my reading, I've not seen a country that has fully established that yet. But when you go to the EU, there are conversations about making some of these things mandatory, because people are quick to say that, oh, it's only in Africa where you have high levels of superstition. Then when you go to Bulgaria and Croatia, their superstition outsees Africa. People are not taking the vaccines because of some of these narratives that were formed. You know, the fake news in the system about vaccination, people collapsing and all that. So there's a lot of a lot of people not very okay with taking the vaccine. But when you even come to lockdown, do you know that a country like Austria has gone into full lockdown? Germany, for example, now is averaging 33,000 cases per day.
33,000
cases per day. And it's the most populous country when you go to the EU. Just Monday, 62 people died. And they border Austria. And I remember this vividly because when Ghana was going for the 2006 World Cup, that is where we you know, trained and all that. They are into lockdown. Belgium, Croatia, Netherlands, there are huge protests in the country, but still the government are contemplating some sort of lockdowns and also mandatory, you know, covered vaccination regime for each people. So David, Ghana may be thinking toward the line of the east or the west, but I think that we must get to the point where at least we need to mandate some key people, at least the 600,000 public sector workers. If you before you enter a government building to access a government facility, you need to show your vaccination card. Because David, this is not just about politics or giving vaccine, but it's also about economy. Our economy, if we are not able to work and productivity show up, we will crash. Again, it's about freedom and liberties. Imagine, David, you are going for a show and they will tell you that if you don't have a card, don't enter. You'll be pained. So at least get the vaccine. And moreover, almost 3.4 million people have been vaccinated. The FDA, so far, the reports are saying that we are good to go. Personally, I have been vaccinated for we are getting to almost 6 months now. David have been vaccinated. We don't have any issues. So, David, this is where I will draw the curtains on my. All
right, so let's talk about Austria. I know that Austria, you know, also intends to push through this mandatory or compulsory vaccination in Austria, as they also hit again, and they have already announced a lockdown that's not going to go beyond or more than 20 days. Looking at us and our situation, the fact that even looking at the number of people who are below 3.5 million who have received the vaccination, and the fact that many of the ones who have received the vaccines are the ones who have had first doses, and the fact that we are not adhering to the protocols. Hardly do you see people wash their hands. These days, a few people are still wearing the mask and all that. But looking at our situation right now, and of course Christmas beckoning, how concerned are you?
David, for me, even the mandatory will be difficult in Ghana. Do you know why? When you go through the various legislative instruments that was issued by
we're talking about legislative instruments. We have a lawyer on the phone lines.
Yes.
So let's engage with our lawyer, who will be giving us some information as to whether indeed our laws allows for us to, you know, introduce such a mandatory thing when it comes to taking of vaccines. His name is Dr. Ernest Dapa. He's a senior lecturer and head of commercial law department, Faculty of Law, K University. Doc, good morning to you.
Good morning. Just a little correction. It's Osudapa.
Okay, Dr. Osudapa. Thanks for the correction, Doc. All right, so we have had conversations and we've had, you know, snippets of a possibility of making the vaccine intake mandatory or compulsory. Does our law allow that? What does the law say about it?
Right. Thank you very much. The issue of mandatory vaccination or compulsory vaccination is not a new issue. It's an issue which has engaged the law, especially having regard to its implication for human rights. Now, what is happening is that what you are seeking to solve by deploying compulsory vaccination impinges on a certain human right. And what you seek to leave unsolved if you don't deploy compulsory vaccination onto affect a certain human right, the right to privacy, the right to dignity, and so many other autonomy-related rights. On the other hand, you also need to safeguard the public health, and especially so, if you look at our constitution, one of the legitimate justifications for restricting a person's liberty, a person's human rights, is where it is necessary to protect the public health, public morals, public safety. So therefore, we ask the question, if a person is not vaccinated against coronavirus or COVID-19, is he going to pose a serious risk to other members of the public, other members of the population? If the answer is yes, then what it means is that the person being vaccinated is absolutely necessary for protecting the public health. And for that matter, it is well within the recognized grounds of legitimate justification for restricting or for suspending the human rights under appropriate circumstances. But the principle of proportionality will still have to be respected. That is to say that the measure which we will employ in order to activate or trigger or deploy compulsory vaccination should be such that they are just necessary and not in excess. And of course, we also have this big issue of bioethics, or what we call like the ethical thinking as whether something is right or good when it comes to this particular matter. If you look at our constitution, for example, I'll give you an example. When it comes to blood transfusion, blood transfusion, you see the constitution is quite clear that where the patient is a child, then the constitution does not respect any religious or any other grounds for refusing essential medical care to that particular child patient. Now, one will argue that in the case of Jehovah's Witness or other religious groups that do not actually embrace blood transfusion or some other product as part of their therapeutic management and all that. Now, blood transfusion, let's say that if someone is seriously anemic and he doesn't allow blood transfusion, now he's a threat mainly to himself. He's not a threat to third parties. And for that matter, if you are using D.S. Mill's no harm principle in bioethical thinking, one would argue that, yes, you have autonomy so far as you do not pose harm to your neighbor. You do not pose harm to third parties. Therefore, where a particular health condition, such as you being infected with COVID-19, is going to affect so many others around you, then your refusal to get yourself vaccinated so that you don't get infected with COVID-19 is not something which just affects you on the same pedestal with maybe you refusing blood transfusion because of your religion or some other ideology that you subscribe to. Now, this one, it becomes a risk to entire population within your proximate reach. And for that matter, it is legitimate for your autonomy to be made subservient to the grand principle of safeguarding the public health. And I think that if you look at the European Court of Human Rights and all that, if you interrogate their case law or jurisprudence closely, you seem to get a sense that those countries which have embraced an intention to go on the trajectory of compulsory vaccination have not come under the interim measures which the court will usually have triggered so as to prevent you from going ahead with the intervention which has the rare risk of actually infringing human rights until maybe the court has gone fully into that. We haven't seen that yet. And of course, we can mention the Greek example, the Syrian example, where it all announced, but the European Court of Human Rights have not actually imposed any interim measures that, yes, government put on hold what we intend to do until we have gone into a full-scale investigation into the nuances to find out whether what he intends to do can pass the test of human rights compliance. That has not happened. And for that matter, I would like to think that it is consistent with the legitimate grounds for restricting human rights, particularly public safety and public health.
Okay. If I understand you correctly, Dr. Osudepa, as a human being, I have a right to decide and to allow what enters me. But if I don't take it and it's going to endanger somebody else's life, then that is where the state comes in. Am I right?
Absolutely.
Okay. If it's absolutely right, then instead of we saying we're introducing a compulsory measure where it will be mandatory for people to take the vaccine, how about we rather sanctioning the unvaccinated who may put other person's life in danger instead of saying compulsorily go for a vaccination?
Yeah. So I think that it's just legal semantics, variation. If you are sanctioning the person, it is a certain layer of compulsory vaccination. Now, because why are you sanctioning? You are sanctioning because you're unvaccinated, meaning that you are being made to suffer punishment for refusing vaccination. And for that matter, you are still within the spectrum of compulsory vaccination.
I see. So, Doc, let's now talk about enforcement. We're speaking hypothetically here. I don't know whether we're that close to having it made compulsory, but how can we enforce this? Having at the back of your mind the EI 164, that is the Imposition of Restrictions Act that was introduced in 2020, Act 1012, that said, well, for people who fail to wear the nose mask and face mask, they will be, sentenced to prison for 4 to 10 years or be fined 12,000 to 60,000. Enforcement was difficult. So if we want to even make it mandatory or compulsory, how will enforcement be like? What are the things we need to consider?
Right. Thank you very much. You noticed that just a few days ago, the Honorable Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Mr. Dr. Dami, gave a hint that one of the bills that is considering putting before Parliament is the alternative sentencing bill, which seeks to say that let us move away from custodial sentence, where we just put people in prison and give them some other forms of punishment. So, therefore, assuming that it is so essential for us to go on this extreme trajectory of saying that if you do not submit to vaccination, then we are going to impose some punishment on you. I think that the punishment will not necessarily have to be custodial because having regard even to COVID-19, it is not prudent to actually have people in prison because when they are in prison, their life is seriously endangered because of their unvaccinated status and all that. But I think that it's not so much about legislating to make it compulsory, but we need to invest more in public health education. I think people need to be educated, and we have a lot of falsehood, right? A lot of falsehood and conspiracy theories going out there, which make people get scared that if you get any of the vaccines available, you are going to die, you are going to get this, you are going to get that, you are going to get that. I think that we need to employ effective measures to disabuse the mind of the public from such falsehood, from such deception. And I think that is the bigger battle we need to fight, rather than just trying to make laws to make it compulsory. If we educate the public to understand the truth of it, and then they get to know that COVID-19 is not necessarily the first public health risk which we are seeing. That we have the Black Death, right? And we have so many others in the times past, centuries ago, where over 100, 200,000, 500,000 people died and all that. And we've just seen another one. And thank God we've made progress in the scientific knowledge and medical research. So, so far, this vaccine has proved that it's working. And if we're able to get the rhetoric right, and we have a meaningful engagement with our members of the public, anxiety about the safety of the vaccine. I think that we make much more progress than just rushing to Parliament to get compulsory vaccination law. Mind you.
I hear you. Dr. Osudapa, thank you very much for your time with us this morning and, of course, for the clarity. And based on what Dr. Osudapa has said, there's a leeway in the law that allows leadership to say, listen, let's enforce or let's introduce such a law.
Yes.
And that is what Patrick Kumar-Boaji, the Director General for the Ghana Health Services, talked about, that we haven't gotten there yet. But if we should get there and the conversation comes up and we need to introduce it, we will introduce it. And that is why we're throwing that to our listeners. And we're asking them to join us and tell us on WhatsApp, sending us their voice notes to 055 1111995. Is the law the way to go? Making it compulsory, mandatory, is that the way to go? Getting to the conclusion of his presentation, you heard Dr. Osudapa say that he would go for education more than the law.
Yes, because David, for example, when he mentioned about custodial sentences and all that, we are prisons are even overstretched and overcrowded. So if you are putting people there for not being vaccinated, what are you doing? It's cost 90. At the end of the day, we also put a budget together to feed them. David, when I was speaking, Della gave me an interesting angle. I've not actually seen it. Do you know that Bayern Munich, there are 5 players with Bayern Munich who've decided not to vaccinate? They are Joshua Kimmich, Jamal Musiala, whatever, Eric Maxim Choupo-Moting, who I know is Cameroonian, and Michael Constance, forgive me, I don't know. They've decided not to vaccinate. So do you know what the German team have done? They've decided to cut their wages for every match they mix and training they mix. Do you already know why?
I'll compel you.
Yes, because the team are vaccinated. But you have decided not to serve, or you have decided not to vaccinate. So it means that you are susceptible on a higher foot to getting the virus. So they said anytime you contract the virus, you are in self-isolation and all that. The team will not pay you for missing those days and not coming to work, which is basically training and playing football. So David, these are interesting angles that are popping up, and I think that we can also say some of these things. For me, it will be more easier if you say that if you are not vaccinated, don't enter a government building for their services, and this will also compel people to take the vaccine.
Or if we have all our health experts, providers, also vaccinated, and then you don't have the vaccine yet. You don't have a card to prove that you have been vaccinated. You can't go to any hospital facility.
Exactly.
Because the doctors will, first of all, whoever is going to attend you a vaccination card. And
David,
don't compel people to take it. Instead of saying we're enacting laws.
Yes, and let's tell people that yesterday I was at Tech Junction. The vaccination is ongoing. It's not that the vaccines are not at the various facilities. I know Suntress Hospital is ongoing. I know KNUST Hospital and other places. If you've taken the first shot, just go to the place where you took the first shot and inquire whether the vaccines are in, because just Monday we received 1.7 million. 1.7. So even if you deduct it by 2 because you are doing a double vaccination, that is about, I think, 800 and you can do 850,000. And when you add that to the 3.5, you're heading to almost at some 4 million. So
listeners,
join us. Get the vaccines.
Join us now on 0322083596. That's the number to reach us on, 0322083596. You can also send us your voice notes to 05511119995. That's our WhatsApp line, and you can send us your voice notes. What is the way to go? Is it education? Or it's about enforcing laws that will make it compulsory and mandatory for everybody, to take the vaccine. You heard Dr. Osudapa a while ago. He says, well, to him, he thinks education is the way to go. What do you think? Christoph is on the line. Good morning, Chris.
Yes, good morning, brother. How are you, sir?
I am well.
Yes, David, you asked the last question, and I'm so happy. The health provider, have they all been vaccinated? That's what I know. Doctors who are not being vaccinated, and you are telling me that I should come and be vaccinated. You are forcing me. Can you force me? If I say I will not do it, can you force me?
If there's a law to that effect, yes, you'll be compelled to.
David, I've not seen anywhere in any country that people are being forced to go in for vaccination. It is my body, and I determine and I decide what gets into my body. I think that you should rather persuade people, because there's no doubt that persuasion is always better than forcing people. I'm telling you, because you've gone to take money from these people and you can't even account for the money. You're telling me that I should come and be vaccinated. I'll not go to any stadium. I won't go to any party. I won't go to any concert. I'll wear my nose mask. I'll do my hand sanitizer. And I'm going to go, because there are things that we've heard that we can't put it in the public domain. People who have gone for the vaccine, and then a lot of issues. I'm telling you.
Well, I've taken the vaccine, Christoph. 6-7 months down the line, I'm fine. I don't have any issue whatsoever. Thanks for joining us for this conversation. 03220-83596. Bright is also on the line with us. Good morning, Bright, and welcome.
Good morning. Okay, thank you. God bless you for the program that you have made. What I want to touch on it is that we do not assent with what they are saying, that they should make this mandatory. They must give us the right so that we can do whatever we want to do. But what I want to say is that it seems Africa, we are not grateful for what the Lord has been doing for us, because before all this thing came, this coronavirus thing, the World Health Organization came with a mischievous report that Africa must prepare for the worst. But we are here living a life. God has been protected us. We need to be grateful, and we need to accept that. And one thing I want to say is that I do not like how your fact checker came with the facts. You see, there are also adverse effects about this vaccine. You need to also check on that thing for us.
Okay.
Because I watched a news that was last month ago. The former U.S. Secretary died, and he was fully vaccinated. So we must also understand this and get also facts about this. It's not that we just want to pollute the world, but we need to understand all the facts about this thing, because this vaccine is technology-wise. We won't get it now, but we will understand it before or after they have completed their thing. Thank you.
Well, thank you. That was Bright who joined us. And Hassan, I'll be engaging with you shortly, Hassan. 03220-83596 is the number to call us and also share your thoughts with us. And I'm asking this morning, is making it mandatory, the vaccines, making it mandatory or compulsory the way to go? But to respond to Bright briefly, we have been told that, yes, you might have taken all the 2 dosages, but you still would get the COVID. But the impact on you will not be as somebody who hasn't taken the vaccine at all. And again, there are many people with different underlying conditions that also creates a problem for them. So that's what it is. I have taken the vaccine. I feel okay. I haven't had any negative effects yet. Hassan is also on the line with us. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Dave.
Welcome, Hassan.
And good morning to my co-workers at Abbotto, the best place to have a good meet. Dave, I don't think anybody can force anyone to go vaccine. It depends on who wants to be vaccinated.
We're talking about public health safety here. And so if we get to a stage where leaders think that we need to make it mandatory or compulsory, they can go to Parliament and get a law that will back it.
Thank you. If you go to Parliament and have the law to back it, that's okay. But UK is even disputing what we're having right now. And at length, and they took it before even us. Then why are we forcing ourselves on something that UK itself is not even in support of? So, Dave, it's okay for us to go get it, but I don't think anybody can force no one to go get it. Education is the best way to go.
We've done a lot of education. Has it sunk in? Are people complying? Are people respecting the education? 03220-83596. There are talks about, if need be, we'll make the vaccine, the dosage, it's the jabs, taking the jabs mandatory or compulsory. Question we're asking is that the way to go? Is that the way to go? David joins us as well. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, David, good morning. David, that is not the way to go. The doctor who spoke is a learned person. He knows the right thing to do. If you want to make anything mandatory now, we are in a democracy. You need to go through the process. Go to the Parliament, whatever it is, they vote on it, becomes an act of Parliament, signed into law, and becomes mandatory. It is my body. David, you can't force me to put something in it. And David, please, has there been established fact that when people took the jab, there were adverse effects? Yes. Have there been a group of doctors who have come out fighting against this thing, that they should stop it for a while? Yes, in Western world. So these things must come out for people to know. And the people producing the vaccine have also told us that it's an experimental drug. It's an experimental drug. They stated it boldly. Go and look into the purchase agreement. So you have to educate people. They don't come and force things on our truth. Good morning.
Well, those are the thoughts of David, too. You can also be a part of our conversation. Join us on 03220-83596. Now, paying taxes is an obligation to the state, and Consolidated Bank Ghana, that is CBG, is making payments stress-free. Now, simply dial *222# and pay your custom duties, Ghana Revenue Authority taxes, Environmental Protection Agency, the Ghana Standards Authority, Food and Drugs Authority, and levies for all other government services. Now, pay your taxes via the CBG's internet banking platform using the code *222# to make payments. Now, you can also visit any of their branches nationwide to make payments. Dial *222# on all networks to pay all your taxes. CBG is ISO certified. Visit www.cbg.com.gh for more details. You can call 0302 216 000. CBG, we stand with you. All right, so there are talks about making the vaccine intake, the dosage that we're being given, mandatory. Dr. Patrick Kumar says when we get to that stage, we would consider it and make sure that that is applied. Is that the way to go? Gerald, good morning.
Good morning.
And welcome, Gerald.
Yeah, thank you. So my thoughts are mandatory vaccination is not the way to go. Previously, understanding of vaccination is if you are vaccinated and I am not vaccinated, I do not pose a threat to you because you protected yourself. But if this time around I pose a threat to you, then we have to look at the efficacy of the vaccine itself and not about me posing a threat to you. Because you've protected yourself already. There's no harm from my side to you. So you have to look at that, the efficacy of the vaccination, and narrow down on that.
Those are the thoughts of Gerald. He shared them with us a while ago. You can also join us on 03220-83596. Call us now, 03220-83596. Nyamiche, good morning.
Good morning, Dave.
How are you, Nyamiche?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I am well, Nyamiche. Good to have you, sir. Let's hear you.
Yeah, Dave. This mandatory vaccination won't help because, as other callers have been saying, your body is your body. It's not for the government. So if there are going to be education for people to do it themselves, I think that is the best way. Because mandating it will rather worsen the situation. Because people will be so stringent, they will not even like to do it.
But you know that in as much as you own your body, if you attempt suicide and you're not successful, it's illegal. The law can deal with you. You know that, don't you?
Suicide is a crime in Ghana.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So you own the body. You mentioned that you own your body, and anything you want to, whatever goes into it is what you decide. But I'm saying that, yes, you own your body, but listen, if you attempt suicide and you don't succeed, well, it's illegal and you'll be, dealt with.
It's illegal because the laws of Ghana say so.
Good, and that is why they are saying that they'll go through the appropriate channels if need be, to bring up a law that will make it mandatory or compulsory for people to take it. But Nyamiche, I appreciate your time with us this morning. Thank you so much, sir. And do call us again tomorrow morning. John is also on the line.
As anybody who accepts.
Am I here? Am I listening to John?
Yes, please.
Yes, John. All right. So, John, go ahead.
What I'm saying is that as part of the mandatory COVID-19 vaccine we are talking about, don't I have the right, as part of the human rights, to also accept whatever is taken into my own body?
The lawyer touched on it this morning. He did.
So why should it be a compulsory thing? Because we all know that it is good, but as to anybody who accepts, who is willing to take it, you can go for it. But it shouldn't be a compulsory thing, because I also think that it is one of the things that can also go against the human rights that we are talking about. Because as a human being, I have the right to also accept whatever is taken into my body or reject it.
But John, a lot of people have talked about that is not the way to go. Compulsory, mandatory, that is not the way to go. What we should be doing is to do more education. Haven't we done enough education? Has it sunk down well enough?
Okay, the education, I'm saying what I can say is that the education is not enough to me, because it's not everybody who has access to the education that you are talking about. And we should let the people understand the importance of it. And if they are ready to go for it, there's nothing for it. But if someone who don't have the what I'm saying is that maybe someone don't have the zeal or the right to go for it, there are so many people who feel that it is nothing to do with them.
Well, those are the thoughts of John as well. And the phone lines are still activated. We can pick about a call or two more. 03220-83596. We're having a conversation about COVID-19. It's been a while since we had this conversation. And our numbers looks quite okay right now. But we hear that, some people are very reluctant. They don't feel like going for the jab. And there are conversations in some corridors that, listen, if need be, when we get to a certain stage where people who still don't want to go for it, then we'll need to enact a law that will make it compulsory for them to go for it. Even as we speak, we are hearing that when it gets to Christmas and events are being organized, for those who have not been vaccinated, they will not be allowed to enter some event grounds to be a part of that event. That's something that's also coming up. And so I don't know where you stand on this debate. What do you make of this conversation? Do you think that is the way to go, making it mandatory, making it compulsory? Is that the way to go? Or you think, like others, that is not? Let's hear from you. You can also send us your voice notes to 055-1111-995. Let's speak to Gabriel. Good morning.
Good morning, Dave.
Welcome, Gabriel.
Dave, is Ghana only the capital towns?
Ghana, the capital town of, I don't get you, sir.
No, like it seems Kumasi, Accra, Sunyani, and the big towns are only Ghana. Have they extended this to the villages? Are they not part of the country?
Well, I know that there are plans to get there and vaccinate them again. Patrick Kumabaji touched on that all the rural areas, the vaccination is going to take place there as well.
They need it more than us because they don't have the educations. They need more than us. Like, if they want to spend our money now, not then say they have to say anything. Go class and correct play. Common between so and create money catch home non correct the whole city. Anytime I get Kumasi, they force things on us. Thank you, David.
Well, thank you, Gabriel. Nothing has been forced on anybody yet, has it? It's a conversation that has begun, and we are, getting into that conversation as well. Let's speak to our very final caller, Asian. Good morning.
Good morning.
And how are you, Asian, today?
I'm doing well, yourself.
I'm well, Asian. Thanks for asking. So I'm eager to hear what your take is. Let's hear you.
Yeah, I'm naturally against forcing people against their will. But when it becomes necessary that this vaccination becomes mandatory, I'm for it. The reason being that somebody called and said if the efficacy of the vaccination still is in question, then it is not necessary. But what I understand is that when you take the vaccination, it does not mean you can't contract the disease.
Yeah.
But then when you get it, there is no way you are going to see those signs that somebody who hasn't got the vaccination.
The impact on you is going to be lessened.
Yeah, I understand that one. But I also understand that the symptoms will not be at the one who hasn't gotten the vaccination at all. So it means that if I have it, me, the one that I've been vaccinated, I have it, and then you don't have it, the possibility of me spreading to so many people is very high. That is why we must all go for it. There's nothing that comes easy. I mean, we must understand that all these vaccinations that have been tested and then we all accept it now, they went through some process before they became what they are today. So we must all accept to do some of these sacrifices. You understand? I'm not saying that we should sacrifice for others, but I'm saying some people sacrifice for us. So if you should have faith in God, if you really believe in God, you should have faith in God and go take it because you don't know where you will get it. And this thing is very serious. We must understand that.
All right, Asian, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it very, very much. And Japan Motors has great news for you this month. Get your Nissan vehicles inspected by their certified technicians for free. Nissan After Sales is offering you a 48-point checklist inspection and a 16% discount on spare parts. The inspection is strictly by appointment and is available at their Accra, Tema, Kumasi and Takoradi offices. Call them today and book your appointment. 0244-342-957 is the number to call. 0244-342-957 or 0596-911-256. Now visit their website www.japanmotors.com for more information. And this offer is valid from the 1st to the 30th of November. Today is the 23rd, so we've got a few more days to go. So make sure, 24th actually, today's the 24th, so make sure that you go have your Nissan vehicle checked out for you. Nissan After Sales, our promise, your experience, Japan Motors, driven by excellence. What are people saying by way of the voice notes? Let's take a listen.
David, No, Ghana, we have a problem, and the problem is our leaders. This vaccination, some people say they want to make it compulsory. I don't think you can force somebody to seek medical care because this is a medical care. And if that is the case, fine. There is a lot of people in Ghana who has not taken the vaccination. And others even believe that this does not exist. So if somebody decides that he will not take the vaccine, then I think you can't stop the person, because after all, the person who said he will wear the mask, he wash his hands. And these are the preventive measures. And if the person is ready to follow all these preventive measures, are you saying that you prevent the person from entering where the person wanted to go for his daily activities?
So those are the thoughts of a gentleman who sent in that voice note. Let's try this one as well.
Yeah, right, Akuetteh. Good morning. This is Ato. What I think is, looking at the situation around, it should be compulsory for the government to tell people to get vaccinated, except few people who, by one reason or the other, they can't be vaccinated. Apart from those people, I think for the rest, compulsory is the way to go.
Atu says he thinks that we should make it mandatory or compulsory for people to get themselves vaccinated. Let's jump on straight onto Facebook. We are running out of time very quickly. What are some of the comments?
From Yao Brobeba, he says the reluctance by majority of Ghanaians to voluntarily go for the COVID vaccines emanates from the poor publicity the country's health experts and politicians have churned out in respect of the efficacy or otherwise of the doses. Most of these state officials issue contradictory statements about the vaccines, and those have heightened the people's apprehension about the vaccines. This is from Ibn Sultan Isa. He says, "Good morning, David. With the use of this vaccine and all that, what's the guarantee that the vaccine is best way out? There are a number of people who were vaccinated yet had the COVID again. Why can't we as a nation make our own vaccine for our own people? Because these white people, they can't be trusted." All right, and this is from Kojo Asempa Furniture Works. He's enjoying the show from wherever he is. And yeah, Oyibo Boateng is saying something different. So.
I hear you. All right, so it's now some 18 minutes past 8. There's a conversation coming up shortly on the Super Morning Show, has to do with energy, and we're being told that, well, there are possibilities of increase in tariffs next year. And again, if care is not taken and certain actions are not taken, would have more outages in 2022. True? Well, we shall be joining the feed now for that conversation on the Super Morning Show.
Those attending public events in December.